that your time?
He was out.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the April 28th, 2025 meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Adjustment. The Board of Zoning Adjustment is a 5-member board. 3 affirmative votes are required to approve a request for variance or other appeal. For anyone addressing the board today, please give us your name and address for the record, and then tell us what your hardship is or what your objection to this request may be. You will be given our decision today verbally, and you will receive our decision in writing within 10 days. Zoning approvals can be issued immediately following the hearing in our office at room B200. However, you will first be required to obtain a permit from the Jefferson County Department of Health if your application involves connection to a septic tank, or the Jefferson County Environmental Services Department if your application involves connection to sanitary sewer. Anyone disagreeing with the board's decision today has 15 days in which to file an appeal in circuit court. Also, we would ask that you silence any electronic devices during this hearing. Our first case today is case number A250008, property owners Audrey and Richard Weems. Would staff please present the case?
Ma'am, this is a variance from the terms of the zoning resolution for construction of an accessory structure having 2,100 square feet in addition to the existing 288 square foot existing accessory structure in lieu of the maximum allowed, which is 1,200 square feet. And said structure to be located 10 feet from the right-of-way of Rockdale Road in lieu of the 35 feet. Existing zone is R1. The property, as stated, contains a residence and 1 accessory structure. There's 0.7 acres. The property is located within a recorded subdivision in R1 zone, and the property is across Rockdale Road from the acreage tracts, from various acreage tracts in A1 zone and district. You can see that the property is at the intersection of Greenleaf Drive and Rockdale Road. There is a concurrent subdivision case S250017, which will combine both of those parcels. Section 60501 regulates the accessory structures, which again, the maximum, it would exceed the maximum square footage of accessory structures on the property. Also, the yard requirement 605.002C again requires a 35-foot setback. The property is, like I say, on a corner lot fronting of both Greenleaf Drive and Rockdale Road. The proposed structure will be located to the rear of the residence, which faces Greenleaf Drive. However, the structure is proposed to be located only 10 feet from the right-of-way of Rockdale Road. To the south beyond the subject property, only 7 other properties have frontage along Rockdale Road. The applicant is also requested to locate, again, 10 feet from the front property line. Since 2000, there have been 36 cases to allow structures larger than 1,200 square feet in residential zones or on A1 properties containing less than 1 acre. Other cases, only 3 have been denied. The 3 denied cases are listed in your case report. That being said, staff recommends approval of a modification with a modification of a 15-foot setback for alongside Rockdale Road in lieu of the requested 10 feet. A caveat to that is roads and transportation, which we also run these things by, is also okay with the 15-foot setback. Therefore, staff recommends approval, again, with the modification of a 15-foot setback.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding the case?
No.
Okay, at this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Okay, if there is no opposition or support on it, the public hearing is now closed. If there are no other questions or comments from board members, may I have a motion from the board?
Madam President, I move that we approve case number A250008 with approval with modifications.
Okay,
A second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any against? Okay, your variance has been granted with, as we've stated, the modification of a 15-foot setback shall be observed along Rockdale Road in lieu of the requested 10 feet. Okay, next case is case number A250009, property owners Casey and Krista O'Quinn. Would staff please present this case?
Yes, ma'am. This is a variance to allow construction of an attached garage to be located 18 feet to the side property line in lieu of the required 25 feet. I think after looking at the request, staff figured out that it was actually 22 feet. Existing zoning is E1. It's 1.01 acres. The subject property consists of a residence in E1 zoning, in E1 zoning, which has the restricted building setback requirements, the most restrictive setback requirements. The applicant is requesting a variance in order to construct an attached garage 20 feet to the side property line. The area, as you can see, is dominated by estate zoning, but a lot in the area is not constructed to, lots of those areas not constructed to those exact standards. If the accessory structure were to be detached, it could be as close as 5 feet to the side property line, but would also have to be located 16 feet from the primary residence. There is kind of a hard shape. The property slopes down from the road, which would create difficulty in locating a detached garage structure in the rear yard and accommodate the required 16 feet from the primary residence. Since 2000, there have been 3 other requests. All of those requests of this nature have been approved. Therefore, staff recommends approval of case A25009. Again, that with a modification that the building be located no closer than 23 feet to the side property line.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case?
No.
Okay. At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? If you would, please step forward and give us your name and address.
Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Chuck Langer. I live directly next door at 2692 Altadena Road. I listened to this, and you'll have to, this is probably one of the hardest things a homeowner has to do. Choose between a friend next door and the entire neighborhood. And that's basically what we're having to do here. I found it very interesting, the 3 accommodations that y'all picked out to say aloud, because when we reviewed this, you used 3 homes that are right up the street. The first one, let me do this. Okay, thank you. The first one was 2670. Yeah, it's the one that's all over the place. I don't see it. I can't tell you because my eyes aren't that good. I think it's. But here's the deal. This house was built using the 16-foot prop. It was a set-aside building. It was supposed to be a 2-story garage. It didn't end up being a 1-story garage. It ended up being a 2-story because they have residential living in the upstairs built. Then they went and connected the two to their house later on. Shame on y'all because you let them get away with it. They used one rule to build it and then connected the two to make it one. So it's now, that separated building is now connected to their main residence. And they have living quarters in that side. That's the Kumos. The next one y'all used is 2712. That's the Mulvaneys. Nice people. They live up on the hill from us. I've known Michael for years, his dad included. Michael asked for a variance because of his sons. He was going to build an additional garage on the left side of his house. He had the right side already formed, and no problem because he was well off the property line, but he never went through with it. Even if he had gone through with it, he was 69 feet from where the property line was to the existing house to its left. Then you use 2612. 2612 is a great one because 2612 belongs to the Montgomerys. Mr. Montgomery owned the entire acreage that house rests on. And he sold off the part to the left, as I understand, and then to the right, he gave it to his son Bruce. Bruce since has passed away. And so, and in turn, the house to the left that's in question that's built on the existing foundation of his grandfather, well, that resident is 107 feet away on the left-hand side, the adjoining side of the property line. So we're not talking anything of any of these three houses that come anywhere close to one another. Now, I don't believe I heard in asking for this variance, why is this a distress situation? Why are we saying, look, I'm a Dunmore Auburn boy. I went to Auburn, graduated in building science, and the one thing I should have done when I went was pay attention when we got the variance. In variance, I heard one thing. You need three things. You need a house and a curve on the corner, a utility, and everything else is irrelevant. And besides that, the board will make that decision. They're going to stay pretty much to what they're supposed to stay to. You don't have to worry about it. That was my professor at Auburn. I've since learned differently. I live on Altadena Road. We live on the lower side of Altadena Road, okay, which means all the drainage from the upper part, which elevations go up 30 to 40 feet above us, play into effect here, drainage. Now, if there's a hardship, I need to understand it because I don't understand it in what's been given to us. He wants to build a garage. I understand that. He's my next door neighbor. He needs to have some storage somewhere. I understand that. But every house built from 1950 on, almost down through there, is either E1 or E2, which is Vestavia, which fall under the rules and regulations that y'all set forth, with no exceptions, except these three y'all found, and those are hard to kind of work with because they really don't fall into what we're talking about here. So the hardship, a garage, needed a garage. He has a two-car garage. He and his wife, two drivers. They want to add another 25-foot garage and come behind their house for 6 foot and come out towards me. So hardship, let's talk about that if we need to, but I didn't hear a reason for a hardship. Okay, unless somebody can explain that to me. I'm welcome, But outside that, the only main thing I worry about is across the street. Across the street, unoccupied, is 4.5 acres. 4.5 acres. Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as they decide what they're going to do on that property, two things are going to happen. Either they're going to go in and sell that property off because they've already turned down $1 million for it. So as that property grows in value, a doctor and his wife, by the way, the wife's a real estate agent, decides that they can get more for those 1 acre, 4 1-acre lots with a drive down the middle. It's going to do two things. It's going to totally impact the water flow coming off the side on that side of Altadena Road. On that side of Altadena Road at both ends, my end, which is to the left of my house as I face Altadena, has a 36-inch pipe that totally imploded during the last big rain. my neighbor here, has to keep their part of their area to the side of their house clean at all times as a holding pond for the water that comes down. Last year I put in $35,000 worth of changes to allow water to flow down my driveway and out to the back to the creek. We have the creek on our backside. If they do anything, which they haven't decided what they're going to do, but even if they build the large home they want to build, it's going to change the water flow or drainage coming across that impacts, because the three houses, mine, theirs, and the neighbors that just moved in, are in a bowl. We're lower than the highest points. We're lower than the highway. We're lower than Altadena Road, so that means the water coming our way has been in my house. And I've had to make arrangements to keep it out. I'd hate to see these folks face what I've had to, especially building a garage facing that, because all of these driveways on the lower side are used for drainage. That's their way the water comes down the road and goes to the back to the creek. You build a obstruction in front of it, you're going to have problems. Yes, he's willing to probably, because we've talked, he's willing to build a ditch through the wet area. We've got a wet area through there. But I don't think y'all understand how much water comes through there. It's incredible. All the new construction on the top is allowed for that drainage to come down on us. And we fight it, because y'all don't. Y'all, the only thing the county did, there's two pipes, as I mentioned. The one on the right-hand side that falls on his right-hand property line imploded. Private property. The homeowners had to go in there and make those corrections to get that unstopped. On my side, which Greg and his wife live and with their family, you know, it goes over the road. It comes down and wipes out mine and goes into my house. That's the water flow now. We got to face that on the lower side. That's a problem here. We don't want to have to face it in the future. And I really don't want my neighbor to have to face it, because we think a lot of them. So there's a lot of things that are involved in this, to say the least. And they need to be checked out, because we don't want this to happen, and we don't know what they're going to do across the street. Like I said, if they take the dirt down, to scrape off 10 inches of dirt to build 4 houses, if that's what they decide to do on 1 acre lots, we're in serious trouble water-wise, because they're directly in front of our homes. So we need to talk about that. I need to understand what the hardship is, because I don't understand the hardship here. And unbeknownst to me, and I found it out just shortly, I happened to be looking at the plots, our survey and their survey. They don't match. Our survey shows one thing. Theirs shows 44 feet. Ours shows 23.9, because our home was put in before I was even really 6 years old. And we've had to live with that. Y'all set those property lines years ago and put us in an E1 situation, even though we're close on that side. But if our two surveys don't match, I'm showing almost a 6-foot difference in the middle. I show I'm over that way 6 foot. He's showing his 44 go over me by 6. So one of us have a survey that's not right. That either takes away from what he's projecting, or takes away from me, and I'm in trouble, because it's 2 of us. So that has a consequence. We got 6 feet in there that has to apply to this somehow.
When was his survey done? Do you know? I mean, or were they recently done?
Here you go. Hang on 1 second. I'll just give them to you.
Really, we're not here about the survey today, just this variance.
Yeah,
Sure.
Well, okay, and this is, okay, so, I mean, I'm asking about his survey.
You can, let's give it to Michael.
So, as we're speaking and as he's looking, I thought, wow, that's strange. Something's wrong. So today.
Will you step back to the podium?
Okay. Oh, we got to record this.
No, we.
That's okay. I'll come back here. Unbeknownst to me, I thought, what's wrong? So I measured this morning from my house with a tape to his house, and I came up with that same 5.9, right at 6 foot difference in the two surveys. So we've got a discrepancy on our property line running down the middle.
All right, the survey that's in the report was done January of this year. The survey that was handed to you was done, it has a 1987 date. Surveys are technically only good for 1 year.
Okay, but that's the
So
one I'm
the
living
current-
with.
The current survey was done in January of this year, the one that's in your report.
Okay.
The newer survey was, way more than the older survey. In any event, those surveys are civil matters, which the board, our board can't hear.
We don't mess with that.
Civil matter.
Yeah.
As for what they're gonna do propose to do on that large acreage tract,
Yeah, we're not-
Jefferson County would not let the runoff exceed what's already happening. So when we go through the plans review process, whatever is allowed, Jefferson County regulations will not allow more runoff to come than is already coming off. Now, before you said your house was built, residence was built a long time ago, that was probably before the county was really into regulating
It
zoning
is. It
and
is.
stuff.
All 5 of these
So,
houses were built at the same time.
I think
Same building.
at the most, you might could talk to Roads and Transportation, see if they can help you with your runoff. However, runoff that happens on private property is again a civil matter.
Again, y'all rebuilt the drains. They are barely taking care of the problem. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. But the
That
board-
doesn't change the problem. The problem is the runoff.
But our board right now, what we're addressing right now is the accessory structure being built. As for hardship, Michael might know a little more about a hardship than I would.
Okay, I understand. That's fine.
Putting on hardship.
Oh, no, I mean, again, it's just deals with the nature of the lot itself and the way that the back of the property slopes and practical location of another, or of another structure. Again, I would point out that if it were to be attached, he would have to be located or the structure would have to be located 16 feet from the residence, but could be as close as 5 feet to the property line.
Okay? I want him to have a satisfactory life over there. I'm next door again. When I got ready to build my patio onto my deck, which my house empties to his side, dead. Y'all wouldn't let me. I was too close to the property line. I had to go behind my house and build my porch on the back of my house, and my secondary garage is on the back because too close to the property line. Y'all have already declined me once to be able to do what
Okay, well,
we're looking at
again,
here.
anybody has the right to apply to the board.
I got you. I'm just giving you history.
Right, and I mean, I understand.
Okay.
I mean, again,
So,
that's an option that you could have exercised at that time. I don't know, I didn't see any evidence of anything right next door as far as a recent variance request.
of course,
But that was-
I've been there for
but-
44 years.
But
That was
again,
20-something
again,
years.
that's an option that's afforded to all citizens, and that's what he's doing.
We brought
That's what
it,
this is for.
y'all declined it, we went on and did something else. We have an acre and a half. He has an acre. We have room behind to do whatever we needed to. So rather than fight the ordinance, which we shouldn't have to do, it's E1. Stay in E1.
They present these applications to us, we just process them for the.
I understand, but we're going to be a lot closer than normal because of
Well,
the
again-
age of those two houses.
Well, again,
It's up to
again,
these people
again,
to make that decision,
correct,
right?
Correct, but again,
Okay.
he could be closer than that if he were to just detach it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Would
but
be
he would have to
closer.
move it 16 feet down.
That's correct.
And I
He would
understand
be
that.
closer to your residence at that point.
Be close to my backyard, that's fine. And I want him to have, I'm not trying to,
I'm just
again,
pointing
that's,
these facts out.
again,
Well-
back up, sorry.
Well, and then too, if the water drainage is an issue, if he's lower than, is he lower than you?
No, ma'am, I'm,
Okay.
well, I don't know, we share that back drainage area that goes through to the creek, we share that.
Okay.
We shared it.
But, so you're not really concerned about the drainage issue necessarily with his?
I am if there's something, his driveway is his drain. If he covers it up and it pushes water my way, but
Okay.
we've discussed that. He's willing to go in and build a big trench through there. Okay? But that's what I had to do. I spent $35,000 doing. Redoing my driveway to run the water on that side so it didn't get at my house.
So he is willing to build that trench?
He admitted a trench. He said he'd do whatever
Yeah.
was necessary.
Okay.
But again, we have a discrepancy on whose property line are we talking about here.
Okay.
Well, and we can't
Then,
handle
I know you can't,
That.
but we don't know. There's, like I said, there's the distance between the two houses, corner to corner, now changes. It's not as wide as it says it is. It's narrower. Even if he comes over further on me, he's narrowed down, for me, the distance between my house and now his house.
Okay, and what he's saying
That takes
is
me out of an E1
the most
situation.
current is going to be the most relevant.
Current survey.
Oh, yeah, that's here, there. But we didn't know that, or I'd have got it to the county before now. But by the way, your mail stinks here. Y'all mailed this on the 26th. We got it Thursday. It's a month later. Our neighbors, 2 of us got it. The rest of the neighbors didn't get it. Okay? None of them.
Yeah, I mean,
So, but
Unfortunately, mail.
that's not my mail.
I got you. It's my
I mean,
mail.
I'm the same
I'd
way.
have had a
My
great
stuff
time
doesn't
with
come
it, and
either.
so were some of the other neighbors that want to be involved because
Yeah.
they don't want things to change. You're going to create, if this happens, a precedent. It doesn't exist anywhere up and down Altadena Road that meets what we're saying here. Nothing. And we've had a lot of phone calls about this.
So he can't, so my question is, okay, the hardship for him would be you're saying he can't put it behind his home, correct?
Well, behind the home is it's a slope, and it would just take a lot of earthwork, and quite frankly, I don't know that we want to really get into a lot of earthwork.
Oh, right.
But that's what I'm saying, he can't
I
necessarily
had
do
to.
it.
I had
You know,
to.
again,
They had to. Everybody in here who lives in that area had to do
and it's
that.
everyone's right, it's everybody's
Okay.
afforded the right to make this appeal to this board.
Okay, but we did what we knew we had to do in there.
Correct.
Okay, but let's be,
Ma'am, if you would like to speak, please come forward and give us your name and address.
but that's where we are.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm Zoe Langner, and I live at 2692 Altadena Road. I'm his wife. It's the same slope that he's addressing, whether he runs that garage straight behind his house or he puts it over to the side. It's the same drop back there. And he has a bed of plantings. That bed is not permanent, it's cross ties. Or concrete, well, it's cross ties, right? It's cross ties. So back behind his house, it goes back and it drops. But that drop is all the way from the edge of the property over probably 100 feet or so. It's the same drop. So why not? You've got an acre. It's not a hardship to me to run it straight behind the house. You could turn and go in rather than pulling straight in. The water runs off like it has always done if it's done that way. Mm-hmm. So why is that a hardship when you're facing the same terrain and elevation back there?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? If so, are you an applicant? Are you speaking in opposition, or are you the applicant?
I'm the applicant.
Okay.
Do I need to wait?
No.
You can come on forward and please give us your name and address.
My name's Casey O'Quinn. My address is 2690 Altadena Road. I'm the one that's put in for this. I'll keep it short. As far as the water is concerned, I think, what someone may or may not do across the street.
Yeah, I'm not even
okay.
considering that.
Like that's.
I don't.
Okay. As far as their water concern, that water and Chuck the other day mentioned that driveway was built with a slope to funnel the water essentially in the direction of their home where it makes a low and then goes down to a creek. Mm-hmm. And our plan is to build the garage up a touch, drain through the front, we're going to trench all the way back to the creek and run pipe. So there will be, I would think, less water going down in between our two homes. And I don't know what constitutes a hardship. I don't know the definition as far as this is concerned, but, you know, yes, we have two people driving with two cars. We have two girls who will be driving here in the next couple years. There is nowhere to put them. And what Zoe was saying about instead of making the garage this way, tying it in here and going back, we'd lose a third of the backside of our house. There'd be windows that were covered up with whatever that addition would be. So this, I think in the drawing, show it pretty well. Like this would be, it would be aesthetically nice. Like it is not, it will add value. It will be functional. It's going to look really nice from the road. And frankly, I really haven't heard anything other than people have been here a long time and they haven't been able to do it, so they don't want me to do it. And I really haven't heard anything outside of the water issue, which we'll tackle, that is a legitimate reason for me not to, other than no one else has. So that was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Allison Brenner. I'm at 2697 Altadena Road. And I just learned about this like less than a week ago. I have 6 children. I have 4 drivers. I've lived there a year and a half. So I'm a new resident. I have not lived there very long. I think what concerns me more than anything is what is the hardship that he has 2 girls that are going to drive in 10, 15 years. I don't know how many years, but 2 years. And he doesn't have a place to put their cars. I have 6 kids. We have numerous cars. We've made, the driveway work. And if there's a rule that, you can't do something, I feel like we should stick with that. And I don't really know what the hardship is. So I guess that's what I'm wondering. What's the hardship other than his girls will be driving and need a place to put their cars? Because I've got 6, and we got a lot of cars. But we are not going to build a garage because we're not supposed to.
Does anyone else would like to speak?
My name is Vicki Stein. I live at 2464 Mountain Vista Road, which is off of Altadena Road. One of the reasons that I came is, yes, the E1s, we're trying to protect. They're becoming a dying breed. I understand that, but we want to have a variety within our county. We want to have E1s, we want to have E2s, all of those. It makes a vibrant area. The reason is everyone has at least an acre or more. Almost all of the properties down Altadena Road have more than 1 acre. And that allows for them to build onto their homes. And it does not impact going sideways toward your neighbor. You have the depth to do that. Or you're sitting on 2 or 3 acres. So we are trying to continue to ask you to honor those classifications because there's not going to be probably E1s in the future. So the ones that are existing, we want to keep for those that want to go on to a larger property and have a little bit more space between the neighbors. Also, when you go down Altadena Road, especially near this property, none of those driveways face the road. The first one is one of the ones that this young man actually mentioned that built the 2-story separate, but he's past this first road. He is more past this first road, but he's the first one you come to. All of the rest of them go to the side. It's an aesthetic thing, but that road is full of old homes. It's a beautiful road, and we're just asking to try to help maintain it without stopping progress. I'm not sure about the windows on the back side where he was talking because there's a garage, and he would just be adjoining the existing two-car garage, and have a four-car garage. And then it would, the water would still go across his driveway and empty into the backyard, into green space. So we're just asking for you to honor the classifications of the E1s without, the 25-foot setbacks. They do exist, and, this property is not unique to anyone else on these roads. So he does have an option. We would never prevent him. It's just, use the property you have. He has 152 feet behind his house. So it wouldn't also extend into the backside of his property. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, on this, excuse me. Pardon me just a moment. Oh, okay, right here, see. That's the normal.
We're talking 2 feet. Correct.
The required 25 feet, so we're sitting.
Oh, okay, so we're in here.
Right.
Okay. So then
Okay.
it would be a total of 2 feet variance.
Right.
Okay.
So- Okay. If there's no one else wanting to speak, then this public hearing is closed. If my board members do not have any more comments or questions y'all want to ask. And let me just say this, let me understand correctly, is it mainly the water drain-off issue, right?
No.
That,
No, it's aesthetics.
Well,
And
I mean
it's
aesthetics, but-
Aesthetic and
right,
sticking.
but, okay, but, and you're saying, though, you will, okay. All right, well, may I have a motion from the board?
Madam President, I motion to approve
Do you want to comment?
case number A250009 with the modifications of the purpose of building addition shall be located no nearer than 23 feet to the side of the property line.
So 23 instead of 25.
Right.
So just the 2 feet difference.
2 feet difference.
Okay. That's what I was making sure. Okay.
Okay, and do I have a second on
A
that
second,
motion?
yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then this variance has been granted.
So basically, these classifications have no meaning anymore. Y'all just decided 23, 25, 20, 16. I'm not sure why you even have that.
So can I ask a question? So does this mean anybody building now can have a 23-foot variance because he's done this?
If you want to present, you can
Again,
file.
anyone is welcome to make applications.
Yes.
to vary any terms. Anyone can make an application to vary any of the terms of the zoning regulations.
And they said that they can change it willy-nilly whenever they want to. We could
Well,
not
again-
do it when we did it.
Well, again, if anyone wanted to make application, they can come make application to the board.
Right, but how come every time we've done it before in the past, and this is not, he's not even been here a year. We've been there 35 years.
I can't speak for that. I
But
don't
it's
know.
just, I don't understand why it can change. I mean, if it's a set rule, why can it just change like?
Ma'am, this
that?
board meets every month, and there's always requests to modify things, all the
So
time.
if you want to
That's
request.
right, of any citizen.
One more question. We have a discrepancy. The latest one seems to be the one. If I have my property resurveyed and find out that that difference is on me rather than on him, or him on me, does that count?
That would become a civil
That's
matter
it.
between two private property owners.
Well, okay.
We're working with information that we're getting from a stamped
So
survey.
do I bring it back to this body of people if I get a resurvey?
If you get a resurvey and you find out that there's a discrepancy with the property line, that's between the two private property owners.
But what if he's already built over my way? What stops that? Does it stop what you've just done? or
No,
does
it wouldn't stop anything, because, I mean, we have to go with the information that we're provided in order to write permits.
So he can go ahead, if I get it that says that property is different, then he's even closer to me.
And it becomes, that becomes
tough,
civil.
right?
That
If
becomes
a-
civil, yes, sir.
I think it's a probate matter, you'd have to take that to the courts. have courts that decide that type thing.
Next.
Well, let me say, he can go on to the room B200. Since your variance has been granted, you can go ahead. Pardon me?
Right, y'all just said
You just didn't want to do it.
I was starting to say if it's entertaining, stay.
I will say, if it had been more than 2 feet, I would have probably said no.
I know.
Thank you for approving ours. Thank you very much. We can get started. Thank you. Good luck.
But I'm also the builder. And just for my knowledge, if y'all did not approve it, and could we still go back to 25 feet
Yes.
Yeah.
and building?
We could have permitted that without this
That's the
process.
funny thing. I'm building something. They're gonna have to deal with it, and we're talking.
You're going to do it one way or the
They
other.
don't want to see it.
2 feet.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next one we have no one to speak about, so we'll just go through this
The
real
next
quick.
one, can we just say approved?
Yes.
Can we just
No,
say
I got
just
it.
approved?
Case number A250010, property owner Janet Ryan. Please present it.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman, I will, and try to be brief. A variance to allow an existing attached carport to remain as located 1 foot from the side property line in lieu of the required 10 feet. The area was on R1 in the late 1960s. The Board of Equalization records the list date of the construction as 1970. R1 is the zoning district, .75 is the acres. Carport on the property is a lien to extend from the residence on the property, was recently constructed without permits. The applicant has requested a variance in order to bring the construction in compliance with zoning in order to obtain the required permits. The zoning regulation defines building as any structure having a roof supported by columns or walls designated or built, designed or built for the support, enclosure, shelter, or protection of persons, animals, or property of any kind. As this building is attached to the primary residence on the property, it is considered as one larger structure under one roof line. Thus must satisfy the side setback requirements of the zoning district and not the setbacks as will be required for a separate accessory structure. That being said, staff recommends approval of this variance with modification. The carport shall be located no closer than 5 feet to the side property line.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you, and unless somebody is
Well, I do have a
invisible
question
here.
on this. Okay, so when we say that the carport shall be located no closer than 5 feet, is that talking about the top as well?
Yes.
You don't allow a certain amount of overhang. We're more or less talking about where the post would be. But yeah, I mean, you're allowed to have some eaves or something that extends slightly over.
So, all right, since the person that submitted this, they have an issue with, are you saying they have an issue with the water?
I'm saying that. I don't know that there was an issue with the water. There's been an issue with the actual, with a rain event or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, the person just could call when they saw that it was encroaching so close to that property line. And so in looking at the picture again, it just shows that that roof pretty much extends either right to or maybe even slightly over onto somebody else's property, causing that, which, again, that's the purpose of having building setbacks like that anyway, is to prevent these sorts of things that preventing damage or.
Okay, so do you think moving the actual post back no closer than 5 feet will remedy that?
I think that if we post there and there's an overhang, then that will have a chance for water to flow onto the subject property and not onto the neighbor.
Okay. Because my question was, okay, do we need to have them include some type of gutter or runoff? But if it has to be 5 feet back, then surely it's not 5 feet hanging over.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Water's an issue today.
Okay, there's no one speaking in opposition or whatever,
I'll say
so
nay.
the public hearing is closed. May I have a motion from the board?
Madam President, I motion that we approve case number A250010 on modification that the carport be located no closer than 5 feet to the side of the property line.
Okay. Do I
A
have
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? No. Okay, that variance has been granted, and I would like to ask before I say about the meetings, when did I become president?
Oh,
Sorry.
you the president.
Okay, I'm just chair. Okay.
Oh, Madam
I'm
Chair. Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
have all members of the board had a chance to review the case materials and minutes from the March 24th, 2025 hearing that were sent to us electronically? Yes. Vote. May I have a motion from the board regarding the minutes from the March 24th, 2025 hearing?
It's you, Andre.
A motion that we approve to the minutes.
Accept them
Yes.
as written?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Minutes have been approved, and I get to do this.
I know my place.
I'm sorry.
You know, here's the thing. I totally get that, guys. I totally.